And it is official. Let's get it. First, I want to start with saying I do not own any of the rights to any of the music or any of the videos that will be played. They are for educational purposes only. So, with that being said, Salak Leah, if I don't mean to cause any offense, if there is, you too, don't be haters and taking my videos down. I don't have any money. All right. I'm going to send out the link for anybody that would like to be a part of this. I want to give respect to the families of the music that I played, the Nagayana that I played. The word for music in Hebrew is Nagayana. All right. So also the Bari Allah. There's a brother, a beautiful brother named Bari Allah. And I'm just thinking about this because we were going over some Hebrew yesterday, and I spelled the word Yashar Allah wrong, and I put an H on the end of it. So I want to give an apology. I want to give a sincere apology to my brother, the Bari Allah. All right. If you can hear me, shalom to my viewer. If you can hear me good, put a 7 in the room. All right, this video, I'm trying to make it as short as possible. We have a few other things that's going on, so I want to be helpful. All right, if the sound is too loud, put a 3. All right, if the sound is good, put a 7. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with it. And I want to give again a salute to my brother, Debari Allah. Uh, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Debari Allah. But we were reading Hebrew together, and I smooth read Yashar Allah wrong, and I learned with him yesterday. So it's such a blessing. So give respect to him for that. All right, and also to Yahieli, Akwat Yahieli, beautiful sister. And what that sister did was she shared with me uh, some very beautiful, edifying words. And I just want to give a salute to that sister. So if you know Sister Yahieli, all right. Now I want to play this video real quick. This video is a report, and this report is on the African American or the Black family that's here in the in the Western Hemisphere, and how the demographics and how relationships work and how they are now. I believe that it is a systematic thing that's been done to produce separation of the family. I really do. And let's do this real quick. We're going to get Deuteronomy chapter 28, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. But outside from that, we're also going to get, let's share the screen, and we're going to get Judith chapter 5, KJV. Now, Judith chapter 5, KJV is very important because it's an apocryphal book. Now, check this out. Judith chapter 5, I'm going to start at, let's go to verse 7. Let's go to verse 7. All right, so if you can hear me okay, put a 7 in the room. All right, you should be able to, and with you watching and rocking with us, make sure you put a indication that you're learning, you're edifying, and shalom. That would be good. Anything like that, and also, share this out with somebody. All right, share this out with somebody else that would like to and need to hear it. All right, so we're going to start with this, but before we get started, I'm going to go to my handy dandy phone. Now, granted, this video is going to be a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but at the same time, what we want to do is make sure that everyone that's a part of it will be able to participate. All right. So I, like marriage is a very big topic in Yasharala. All right. Marriage has always been and always will be a big topic in Yasharala because there's so many marital issues that Yasharala Israelites have. But it's not just Yasharala, it's the world. Something I heard a very beautiful brother say the other day was, "It's your fault." And when I heard him say, "It's your fault," I couldn't help but to just take a step back and say, he's right. All right. Marriage. All right. Marriage. Deuteronomy 24 with understanding. Divorce is your fault. Marriage. That's a real thing. So shalom. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible again. We are going to be doing the Deuteronomy chapter 24 real quick. All right. Again, I'm typing and sending this out. All right. Everyday Hebrews. All right. Everyday Hebrews. All right. And we're going to do Deuteronomy 24. All right. With understanding. We'll try to keep it short. Like, subscribe, and share. We are not to be divorcing for any cause. Please let me show you something proper with divorce and marriage. It's not an Israelite issue. It's a global issue. It's a biblical issue. It's a spiritual issue. Tap in. Let's build. Live right now. All right. And it is official. All right. So that has been sent out. And now I'm going to copy this. And in the process of copying, I'm going to share it. All right. Let's go ahead and copy this link. And then after copying this link, let's go ahead and share out the messenger. Now, we will be reading from the scriptures. All right. So, I hope everybody's prepared for that. Some stuff you've never heard and some stuff you've already known. But if we can give more edification, I think it'll be helpful. And the reason being is because a lot of us haven't really been refreshed. All right. We might know it. We might have heard it, but we might have not been refreshed in these matters. Okay. So, let me see. Let me pull up another link. I want to show everybody this too, because you may not have seen it. All right. We're going to pull up AI, BIBLESAGA, AI Bible Saga. All right. I'm going to pull that up and I want to show you this. I'm going to share this tab instead. If you've never seen, known of, or thought of the Negroes, the African Americans, those that sold in the Senegal, the West Hemisphere, etc., throughout the four corners of earth, if you've never considered them or us being the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, then it's something to take into consideration. If you never considered yourself being a Hebrew Israelite that the Bible speaks of, then that's something for you to take into consideration. All right. So I want to share this Bible saga, and the reason being is because it's so beautiful. The art style of it, whoever made it, they did an excellent job. All right. Not only did they do an excellent job, they made it to where, you yourself can visually see the Bible. All right. So if that's not helpful, and I think that's a big issue. A lot of people can't really see the Bible, so it does take a consistency. All right. It takes a diligence, let me turn this off. All right. And we'll turn the audio off on this one. All right. So since a lot of us can't see it, it does make it a bit harder to understand the Bible, But if you can, then that will be a great help. All right. So I want you all to enjoy this for a second. All right. We'll be right back. All right. And Kwame Asharala. You can't stunt, man. That's after that's beautiful, and I love it, man. What they did was they went through the actual Genesis story to make sure what they would do is to give you a visual, and you can't beat that, man. There's a lot of things that really help us. Like me, I know I'm an audible learner. Like I let people know I was in learning disability classes. I was in LD. And that was I was in behavioral disability classes, BD. I wasn't LD, I was in BD. So the point of saying that is to say not everybody learns the same. Not everybody learns the same at all. So you'll find out some people are audible learners, some people are visual learners, some people are kinetic learners, to where we touch things and we understand, and it's very helpful. So I think that whoever produced these videos, they should absolutely be given a spotlight. They should absolutely be given a spotlight. So I like to say, everyday Hebrews, spotlights, and look at that. I want to let you all know this. We were absolutely healthier. All right. Absolutely healthier. Okay. Let me see. All right. There we go. All right. So that's sent out to who it needs to be sent out to. And yeah, this is definitely going to be longer than a 5-minute video, but let's get it cracking. All right. There's a few people who have some questions, and I'm not against it. All right. Uh, All right, so I don't want to take too much time on that because it's very important to get to this, but I want to take all the time on that, right? So because it's sharing out, it's helping our people to see. All right, so that set has come to an end, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm going to turn this down to the best of my ability as low as I can, and we're going to switch over to our report. Now, here's our report. All right. And just let you know, yes, eruptions have begun all over the world. Now, let's see what this report was. I'll give the details on it. We'll get the details on it, etc. But we see it's a 1968 report, and it says Black wives push back on their husbands. They expect more. All right. Now, this video is about 8 minutes and 6 seconds. All right, let's go through it real quick.
Daily Defender, and as a Black woman married to a Black man, I become deeply aware of the effects of this new Black revolution on the relationship between Black man and Black woman. I see it among my own friends, and I also see it in my home. But the most revealing and the most vocal statements about what the new Black man expects from the new Black woman came when I met with a group of young unmarried friends one Saturday afternoon.
Now, so jumping right back into it, that's one of the best examples to use as far as our own families, our own structures, our own households, our own marriages. And I love absolutely teaching on the principles of monogamy, on virginity, and polygyny. Now, I've been raised from a polygynous household. My father was poly. My mother, she was she's a Gadite. She's a North American Indian. So she's very, very blessed. But our community does have these different spectrums of marriage, and neither one of them are forcible. Monogamy isn't forcible. Being single isn't forcible. Well, you should never force a virgin or a woman to choose to, but be set apart. But also, polygyny is not forcible. Now, they're all lawful. So, according to the Bible, monogamy, virginity, of course, being abstinent, staying set apart, and also polygyny are all lawful. Now, something that we've seen is within the structure of our nationality is that there's been some interruptions. And when I say our nationality, I do speak on behalf of the Hebrew Israelite community, the Yashar Allah, all right, Yisrael. And the purpose being is because I'm a part of the Messianic Torah keeping community. And with that, we are told to judge each other. So I want to look at a few things real quick. And when we judge each other, we do try to judge each other in righteousness. Wherever that principle came from, we listen, we don't judge. That's not true. That's nowhere accurate. All right. So I just want to get that out of your head. If you heard anything lately, we listen, we don't judge. It's not true. We just judge righteously. So with that, let's look at this perspective. It's 1968. All right. How Israelite or so-called Negro relationship views were. And let's listen to the dynamics between the two. All right, let's go.
I think that what's happening in America as far as Black men, Black women is concerned is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as Black men.
Wait.
But our Black women.
Whoa, stop, wait. I can't even rewind that. I would love to. I know you all caught that. That was so powerful. We're fighting a revolution within our own household. The Black woman won't allow the Black man to be. That was powerful. Now, the first thing was not an attack against the sister, but, the attack was, more so, even if you want to call it attack, the addressing was more so you're not allowing giving submission. Now, another thing I want to commend this time frame, 1968, this man's beard was so beautiful and full. You didn't hear women at that time talk about clean up, shave your beard, because, that's, so, I know and people say times change, but no, there's nothing new under the sun. And, but I am a bearded man. All right. So, shave, if need be, but just beards. All right. Let's see.
Women who has been put in this role of aid in white America, white structure, and castrating the black male has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America.
Come on. All right. So straight up. Now, if you all heard, the reply from a sister on the other side of the screen is, are you all blaming us? And you can see it in the man's eyes. It's like, oh, man, here we go, man. You see it in the man's eyes, like, man, man. You put whatever you want to put in his thought at this time, but he's listening. Baby, I didn't blame you. But let's continue.
That it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to...
You know, and I got to stop right there. Whenever the conversation goes, and, you know, and I want to give a salute to this brother for being strong, man, and sitting there and doing this for us, and the sisters for that were being strong there and asking these questions, because I think there's also a deeper form of conversation that men don't quite understand. When women say, you know, are you saying, a lot of times we take it as if they're taking what we're saying and just going somewhere totally else with it. And a lot of times it's what it is. At the same time, there's also something else that's inside of them that's saying something totally different, that they're not having the easiest time just to get out. You don't, women, let me tell you right now, you don't have to ask us, are we saying something we did just not say? So if you're a woman and you're sitting there and I say to you, I would love to have a hot plate of food, but right now this cereal gonna have to do. You don't have to say, so what you saying, your wife don't feed you? Don't say that. No, I like some cereal, man. This will sound good at this hour of night, but I would also like some Life or some grape nuts, just so I can have a good tummy bowel movement. Yeah, so if we don't say something, that doesn't mean that that's actually what we're saying. So a lot of times, women, it would help you if you don't suspect or assume whenever you relay back to us. All right. Now, even if you think, well, it seemed like that's what it may seem like you're saying. Just really take a moment to hear us out. Now, I want to hear what little mama right here is saying. Salute to her. She's got the beautiful crown, the glorious fro. Her edge up is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You see she's modestly dressed. And, you know, what and whoever she was at that time was absolutely stunning. No fake eyelashes. You see it? 1968, the glory and beauty of the daughters of Jacob. More radiant. All right, are you?
Deny Black women the right to be creative, the right to function.
We're not asking for you to take a back seat. We're saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever you want to have that aggressive thing, this is the thing that the young black man today is not going to tolerate. My old man tolerated because his old man tolerated. It came up for years and years and years. But today, the young black man is not going to take it. He's going to be out there as a leader.
White America has used black women to keep the...
Whoa, that edit cut was crazy. That edit was crazy. I want to hear the rest of what he was saying. Where's the full interview? This is only 8 minutes and something seconds. OG was going in. He was, and listen, there was no profanity. There was no appropriate speech, and, I think he not only addressed the woman, our sister's question, but I think what he also did was he tried to give a solution. Now, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. This I know, I'm learning. It's also sometimes don't listen to how I'm saying it. Is what I'm saying true or not? We've tried to say it soft. We've tried to say it in the mid. And, and sometimes, like my elder told me, sometimes you just have to put things on the table. But let's get back to this. And what's your opinions?
Black male in his place. And you're still aiding him by going to take it. He's going to be out there as a leader. White America has used black women to keep the black male in his place. And you're still aiding him by saying, well, we are qualified. We want to work. We can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think that.
Now, okay, so let me go back to now before the elder answers this question, let me take a stab at it. I just want to jump into the circle and sit Indian style, Gadite style, and answer her question also. Let's see what
You can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men?
So first, sister, what I would say is what we need to do is as a nation, as a community, is we need to all return to the laws that our nationality, if we're addressing our community, the African American, Negro, Cuban, Dominican, Puerto Rican, if we are a people, I'm dealing with my nationality right now. If we as a people would return to the God who also gave us curses for being disobedient, that would address things in one household at a time. Just one household at a time. Now, no household is perfect. So when a woman leaves and goes to another man, another household, she just took all her problems, went into another household, and just started a whole new list of problems with a whole other entity. So it's best if the family stay together. So I'm summarizing my question, sister. First things first, your grandmother, grandfathers grew up understanding the Bible. Even if you say we missed a generation, you still came from that lineage of people that believe in God. We got to return to the laws of the Bible. And that's why we will be reading Deuteronomy chapter 24, sister. So now, if every man doesn't agree with that, that's his own stance. But if you're asking me, my solution is to return to the instruction manual and the person who wrote it and review marriage. Let's do that, sister. All right, what else do you have to say, sister?
That they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility.
Great. So the next question you want to know is how do we reprogram those men so that those, because it sounds like you deal with weak men. It sounds like this is a strong sister. It sounds like this is a strong sister. And you know what I'm saying? She's sitting very gracefully. Look, she has her hand on her knee. She has her legs folded. She ain't sitting there like Nicki Minaj with her uncleanliness all out. She seems like a very strong sister. It sounds like what you're saying is how do we reprogram these men? We have to teach them not only what their responsibility is as being the head of the family. Now, whether you are obedient or not, sister, that's going to be a big part of this. You, sister, with the beautiful afro and the glasses. I like your sky. My bad. Don't touch your sky. Sorry about that. So we have to restructure these men and teach them what our responsibility is, not only according to work, but what our responsibility is according to being community leaders. All right. The Most High teaches us principles. And if you would like to, the Shabbat class, maybe we can have another sit down. We can go over these together. All right. One, I'll give you Sirach chapter 9. All right. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thy arms. See, for there is love is kindled as a fire. We can teach brothers and sisters to stay away, abstain from each other's, have your own. And that can lead us right back to these principles of marriage. Now, that's just a short thing, but let's come back to that. So we have to re-educate our men.
Men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
All right, so let's get this real quick. Here, all right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, KJV, Blue Letter Bible. Ecclesiasticus chapter 26. Now, I want to show you this principle, and if we were sitting up in front of each other like we are, I will be reading this to you from the Bible. All right, we're gonna go back one chapter 25. Now, watch this, sister. The Bible says, "Give the water no passage." You see that? And when you say anything you want, if I just turn on my faucet in any house, in any place I live, and just let the water do anything it wants, the water is going to overrun and overflow, and it's going to go places it shouldn't, and it's going to cause damage. Now, just keep that in mind. Neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. The Bible says to not give you, sister, I know you might not like this, and we're not trying to restrict you. We're trying to keep you safe. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. When you're moving around, you're doing too much stuff, it can cause issues. Your man is not supposed to let you do anything you want. And that's where it comes back to you, sister, because now you have to learn how to be what? You have to learn how to be submissive again.
I don't think that you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we're gonna get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
You don't want to live on the level of income.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm not mad at her. Was this not one of the most beautiful, truthful statements? See, now, hindsight is so beautiful. In 1960, what is this, 89? If they would have been able to go back and have this conversation today, I believe their conversation might have been different. See, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Don't pay attention to how I said it, but is what I said true? What she said was true. What she said was true. How are we going to reprogram our men so that they can forcefully take and not be docile? She said, the man, I deal with that. If we do anything I want, baby. Because you know women, if you let us, we will do anything. And it was so honest. So I like her perspective because she was so truthful. I like the man's perspective because he's seeing an issue and he's trying to give a solution. But I really think that if they could have had this conversation maybe even 5 years later and recorded it and went back and listened, they would hear each other differently. I'm not mad at what she said. Women, what's your opinion?
That I can afford you in love. Me, on the basis of that, you want to
wait. I just seen her eyes kind of go over to the left, and I feel like she was like, that ain't even what I was talking about. I feel like that's what she just did. All right, but let's see, y'all.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you in love. Me, on the basis of that.
All right. So Salak, I don't want to disrespect where the elder's going with this, the elder brother, but I also, honest peer review, feel like he may have changed subject a little bit too soon, and we do that sometimes. But maybe he's just addressing another issue too. Let's listen.
Because you know women, as long as we can get, we're gonna get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you in love. Me, on the basis of that, you want to always be aspiring to have all those things that's a part of the great middle class white American society. And because I can't deliver these things to you, you say that you are not a man.
I don't measure a man.
Stop. I believe with both. First of all, I like to watch for gestures, for body stuff, body language, all that stuff. You feel me? All right, I know that Teddy. I was about to call that man. I feel like going home. I was about to call him, but him. But I really feel where he was going, but I don't. And she reminds me of my Banaf Nakwa also. There would be times when my Banaf Nakwa she'd sit there and listen, but she would also, it wasn't her time to speak, so she would hold her tongue. I want to give respect to this daughter. She held her peace so shalom, so wonderfully, and there's times where she wanted to outburst and she didn't. And that's something that we as a nation, men, we really admire that. When we see women shut down, it does really make us shut down. Even if we got to get 2 more sentences out, sister. The more women hold their peace, shut down, I do it. I know other men who do it. We will back down once you women shakwat. And she did such a beautiful job. Let me go to this real quick.
Always be aspiring to have all those things.
That was it right
on
there.
The basis of that, you want to always be aspiring to have all those things.
I love that right there. That's not what I'm saying. That's my just a peer review. What do you women think? What do you men think? Is she saying that's not what I was saying? I like what he was saying. I don't want to overlook what he was saying. I like what the man is saying. He's saying you won't let me provide for you, and just because I can't give you what the white man give you, you're not satisfied. What do you think? Let's see.
A part of the great middle class white American society, and because I can't deliver these things to you, you say that you are not a man.
I don't measure a man by how much money he can bring home. I measure a man by how he treats me. Whether when I'm tired and I'm sick and I'm scared, he's there.
For these women,
Whoa! I apologize. I heard no error. No, that was so beautiful. Nice, neat, meek, gentle, kind, quiet, sweet. How do we reform these men to be more leaders than being more passive? I don't measure man based off how much shekel he got. I measure man based off how he treat me. Whether I'm tired, hungry, sleepy, scared. What can you say? Now, respectfully, I know that what the elder was saying was more of a pivotal issue as a community thing. All right. Looks like, yeah, everybody's meeting. So it was more of a community thing. I think what she was saying was, look at these beautiful mothers. Amen. What? That's just hauntingly gorgeous. Oh, wow. You talking about class. Here, let's go ahead. Let's put the audio back on. I don't want to do too much, but let's put the audio back on.
And it means to their families and to them as Black women of today.
You know, there have been a lot of myths created about the Black family. We all recognize that. And one of the most pernicious myths is the myth of the Black matriarch. The Black woman has not been a matriarch in the sense that it has been defined thus far. And thank God research, and I hope Black research is being done now to reverse that kind of thing. In fact, the Black woman has been a woman at the head of a household, not by choice, but by necessity. And more often, that's right, and more often than not, she is not a strong, matriarchal, aggressive, domineering figure. She is a woman in search of a man. But this story has not been told.
The prejudiced society created what we have now. So that's what we were. Okay, we have a revolution going on. We're part of the revolution.
We're in the evolution. I think the revolution is yet to come.
Yeah, it's the well, this thing will keep tossing the word revolution around lightly.
It's extremely important for...
Now, I don't know wherever they was going next, but whenever her afro and her earrings bobbed at the same time, you knew it was real. I mean, that was done with skill. So, you know, I would love to hear you all's opinion on that. You know, what are your thoughts on what those elders' mother said? Go back, replay it. You know, let me hear what you think, because what was your takeaway?
Black history.
Let's hear the man's perspective.
History and culture to be transmitted from generation to generation. And the best way, the most effective way that this has always been done is through the family, acting as the primary unit of social organization. And I think one reason why it has not been done with Black people is because of the destruction done to our family life. So this certainly has to be one function of the Black marriage, to begin to reemphasize and to pick up the thread. I
just want to say, 1986, you see, we have been brought into a psychological place that is just so deplorable. Do you see the articulation of our elder's speech, the beauty of his natural? You know, I think, well, I have a brother named Ross Dredd. I know I have a brother named Ross Dredd. And Ross Dredd would just absolutely love, you know, to hear this review. But also a part of it is, you know, he's a very honorable man. And making sure that, you know, the glory of our nationality is exemplified. And I think that they are just so beautiful. You know, he took time to pick his afro out, Daddy, because it wasn't flat on one side for him.
Of Afro-American history and culture that has been left off generations ago when Africans were sold into slavery, when the family unit was purposely destroyed.
Most middle-class homes, quote middle-class homes, like I don't even get caught up in that bag, you go into will have some copy of anybody, any white artist, I don't even have to name anybody, instead of the works of Black artists. I think it starts, especially that identity part, the books, the kinds of books. All of these things start in the home rather than complaining about them being in the schools at this point.
Unless we're absolutely certain.
And I agree with that, you know, that it starts in the home, you know, which is why we do not promote or teach divorce unless it's under the biblical principles. Because not only with that, You have the educational system. You have, our dietary system. You have our belief system, our cultural system, our self-defense system, our hygiene system. All of these things are taught within the household first, or should at least be. So I'm going to switch to this page real quick, and let's do. This is Judges chapter 5. Not Deuteronomy. This is Judges chapter 5, and let's see. We're going to start at verse 7. And verse 6. This people are descendants of the Chaldeans. See, African Americans or so-called Negroes don't consider that they are the Syrians that the Bible speak of. They don't consider that they are the Chaldeans, the ones who came from Shem, from the descendant of Noah, who are also known as Chaldeans, who lived in the land of Chaldee, who lived in the land of Syria, who are the descendants of Abraham, who traveled into Africa. See? So I don't consider myself African because our forefathers didn't come from there. We traveled into there and we lived there for a long time and we inhabited the land thereof. But no, I am not an African. All right. There's two different races of people. So listen, and they sojourned there therefore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. All right, now hold that thought real quick. Let's try one more. Deuteronomy chapter 24, KJV Blue Letter Bible. No, that's not what I was looking for. Let's get. I don't remember what it is. My father was a Syrian ready to perish. Let's see. Deuteronomy 26. I was so close. I was so close. All right. All right. Deuteronomy 26, KJV Blue Letter Bible. All right. So it makes sense because it's laws that was given. So within the laws that was given to us, not only the law of marriage, a few chapters over, Deuteronomy chapter 24, the law of marriage, 25, 26. All right. So now we see this is a law on one of our feast days that God told us to do, the Most High Yahweh. All right. So he says, look at this. Let's just start at verse 1. Do it real quick. And it shall be when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and possess it, and dwellest therein, that thou shalt take of the first fruits of the first of the earth, which thou shalt bring of the land of the Lord thy God, that the Lord thy God giveth thee, and put it in a basket, and shall go unto a place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name there. So in other words, every head of the household was supposed to take what the Father blessed us with throughout the year, and we were supposed to present it to his temple, right? That's every man. So men have lost the responsibility, we've lost accountability, we've lost even knowledge that we're supposed to bring forth our first fruits. All right. And it's just, it's astounding. So once you see that we had responsibilities, what we've lost as far as our responsibilities is laughable. It's sad and it's laughable. And thou shalt go to the priest, that shall be in those days, and say unto him. Now, here's the thing. Not only does the Bible tell us what to do, it tells us where to go, but it also tells us what to say. So I just want to say this real quick. If you've never heard this concept, if you've never heard this precept, if you've never heard I apologize. I just got a blessed message from a brother, man. And all praise. Booyah. All right. So shalom to my brothers that's in it. That's a one west salute to my brothers that's in the city gates of Cincinnati, all my brothers that's in the field and throughout all the different gates that's here. Cincinnati is a beautiful city. So there's a very specific brother whose name is Kadari Yapa. All right, Kadari Yapa, you know who you are. If you catch this video, I love you, man. Appreciate you saying so much more and then some. All right, no face. No case. All right. And it shall go, and it shall. So the Bible not only tells us where to go, what to do, but what to say. So listen. And thou shalt go unto the priest that shall be in those days. And look at this. Say unto him. Now, men, we memorize everything. We memorize how to dance. We memorize how to sing. We memorize how to rap. We memorize how to do everything. We memorize good, bad. Did you know that in your grandmother and your grandfather's Bible, there was a record of what you're supposed to say? Watch this. I profess this day unto the Lord thy God that I am come unto the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give us. And the priest shall take the basket out of his hand and shall set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt speak and say these words. Look at that. If I would only knew this, if I would have known this as, you know, in my first beginning years, if I would have been practiced, if I would have practiced my first beginning, how much my beginning years, how much more would that have changed not only me, but my children's life? See, we have to teach the African American and the Negroes that are in the city gates of all of the place of captivity. We have to teach them not only that their worth is beyond their knowing, but also that you have a aristocrat culture. You're from an aristocracy that is just unbelievable. It's so crazy that there's a nation of people that worked very hard to wipe it away from you knowing it. I think this video is going to be a little bit longer than 5 minutes. Listen, this is what we're supposed to say. And thou shalt say before the Lord thy God, look at this. What? A Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became there a great nation, mighty and populous. Now, when it says a Syrian ready to perish, I know that there are some people that will come later on. And if you do, come on. There's some that will come in later on. They'll say, well, Syria, just Syria, that's the landmass that they lived in. Like, whatever. Listen, our forefather Abraham, from precept to precept, our forefather Abraham, from precept to precept, lived not only in the land of Ur, but he traveled into the continent of what's known today as Africa. So Israelites, the so-called, the Hebrews, the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, who are known to be not just Africans, we're not classified as anything else. First fired, last hired, right? Some of the most coolest people on the earth. Don't push our buttons. Some of the most coolest people on the earth, but often not given chances. The reason being is because the nations know who we are. Look at this. This is the book of Judith, chapter 5. This people are descendants of the Chaldeans. All right? You come over here, you go right back to the Bible. You see what? The Bible says that what? A Syrian ready to perish was my father. So if you choose to still call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, that's on you. When you can learn that you are so much more, all right? We ask people when we first meet them, what's your father's nationality? What's your mother's nationality? Where do you come from? We want to spark those intriguing conversations to not only make people think, but to make us inside consider ourselves. These people are descendants of the Chaldeans, and they sojourned, therefore, where? In Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. So the sons of Abraham separated from the sons of Shem. A lot of the sons of Shem, including the East Indian culture, what they did was they did worship the fallen. They did worship the Anunnaki. They did follow books that was powers, or Allah, Allahayim, Elohim. Which I owe an apology to my brother Debardia, man. I misspelled Hebrew yesterday, and I put a ha on the end of Yasha Allah, and I spelled it completely wrong. And I was like, that ain't right. And I was wrong as the day was long. But anywho, Allah, El. So we didn't follow the gods of the people of the land because our father Abraham was like, that's not what we're doing no more. So I can show you some of the Sumerian gods. Let's look at this real quick. Let's come over. Let's just look at images of Sumerian gods. So this is where Abraham fled from. So Abraham, our forefather, he left from the people worshiping these images, worshiping these deities. He was against this. He said, wait a minute, you see that crescent moon right there? If Enki is sitting right down on the throne and there's a crescent moon that he's worshiping, Abraham was like, why don't I look up at the moon? And then Abraham was like, who made the moon? So then Abraham continued to go forward. So therefore, Abraham, the father of the African Americans, all right, the father of the Hebrews, the father of the Israelites, he did not, Yeladim Yashar Allah, the father of Yeladim Yashar Allah, he did not follow the fallen, right? So we'll talk about all that good stuff, 3 Atlas and all those fun things later, but let's stick to marriage real quick, and I just want to show you something. So a Syrian ready to perish was my father, so you don't have to call yourself a Hebrew Israelite. If that's the only thing that you know, and it's like, that's what we've heard. I've seen the Drewski videos, I've seen the skits, you know, and let me speak on this real quick. The whole Drewski thing, I'll do a video on that. Drewski did the most coonish move ever. I didn't get to see everything that he did, but I got to see some of it. There was a comedian that came before Drewski whose name was Mike Epps. Mike Epps did a skit against the Hebrew Israelites. And then later on, the Most High smacked the mess out of Mike Epps and his own wife. And Mike Epps came back and repented and apologized. And now Mike Epps teaches that. You know, I was looking at this book, and this book said we these people. So Drewski get his portion too. You listen, the reality of it is you can try to make fun, you can try to slander, but why would you do that to people that's out there teaching you that you are actually a part of a book, a culture, of people? There's a lot of coonery and stuff that goes on. And, you know, I'm aware of it. At the same time, I can also see, thank you, Drewski, because you brought a lot of attention to the children of Israel. Hallelujah. Sometimes you got to use poop to catch flies. Now, check this out. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the one God of heaven, the God whom they knew. Now, let's skip down to verse 16. Verse 16. Now, this is still talking about the children of Abraham, the Chaldeans, right? It's still talking about the Syrians, the Hebrew Israelites. And they cast forth before them the Canaanites. So we're not Canaanites. We cast before us the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Shechemites, the Girgashites, and they dwelt in that country many days. Now, I could take you down a historical book trail and show you antiquities. I can show you archaeology to where our people, the Hebrews, did live in these lands. The proof is there. People say, well, where's our? It's there. But outside from that, we have historians. Now, instead of doing that, I just want to show you that these people did this. We did this. Now, the people of the land, wherever we went, they knew as long as they can get the children of Israel to break our marriage covenant with our God, they can get us to go off. If you can get me to break my marriage covenant with my God, if you can get me to eat pork, if you can get me to celebrate Snakesgiving, some of you Negroes make no sense to me. You got Indian in your family, all of that. My Indian hair, and you Negroes sit down and eat a dinner to where your grandfathers were murdered and their heads was kicked down the street. That was the representation of the turkey. Oh, P.S. in case you didn't know, there's been reports to where turkey comes. See, turkeys have a thing called coagulus, and there's reports of turkeys being raped by the truck drivers, and they put their semen inside the turkeys. It's a whole big thing, and then you eat them. Congratulations, you're a cannibal. Now, all of that stuff is true. Pass the sweet potato pie. Don't make it with lard in the crust. Shalom. Now, as long as the nations could teach us to disobey our God, they could keep us in trouble with him. It's just like if a child was disobedient against their parent. That's how you keep them in trouble. Listen, and whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hated iniquity was with them. In other words, as our nationality didn't disobey God, things went well with us, because the God who hates bad stuff was with our nationality. But when they departed from the way which he had appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, i.e., Cincinnati. And their temple, and the temple of their God, was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. This is historical. I'm not reading something that I made up. This is historical. And this is how we get to the situation to now the African-American Negro man and woman are struggling in their marriages, because it's already been written about what would happen to us. It's already been prophesied was what would happen to us. Now, I want to show you one more thing, and then we're going to go back to our video. Deuteronomy, this is in every Bible on the planet. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Now, watch this. This is verse 54. This is curse, right? This is a curse. Now, watch this. God said, if the children of Israel, the children of Abraham, right, which are the which are the Assyrians, the Chaldeans, today called Hebrew Israelites, African Americans, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother. Hey, what up, blood? Hey, what's up, folks? I chitty bang bang. I'm just doing stuff right now. Gang gang, right? That's having an evil eye against your neighbor, separating ourselves by not only city blocks, but twisting up hand insignia is like, this is all biblical. All right. West Side Tabernacle, East Side Tabernacle, South Side Tabernacle, North Side Tabernacle, however you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? We might do it like whatever. Tabernacle of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We had colors, blue, purple, scarlet, gold. The things that our people had were turned against us, and the curse of gang banging and murdering and hating each other is now what we live under. And it's right here in the Bible. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother. What's that nigga looking at? Nigga, what you looking at? Wow, why y'all talk to each other like that? Man, I don't know that nigga, man. Hey, man, that nigga better not come around here no more. Who that be? B, I don't know you. Kicking each other in the stomach while they're pregnant. So the Israelites have this curse on them of hating their own brother. It's prevalent. It's right here. All right. Drewski could have brought these scriptures out, but you know, he has to get paid for being a coon, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? There's always been, you know, jesters. You have wise men, and we can be, you know, comical, and then you have coons, you know. So now it wouldn't just be towards his brother, it would also be and toward the wife of his bosom. So one of the other curses of the children of Israel is that we would be not only evil towards our brother, but towards the wife of our bosom. But lastly, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he shall not give to any of them the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat. Why not? Because he has nothing left to give in the siege, in the straightness wherein in thine enemies distress thee in thy gates. Now that might have sounded cryptic, but all it's simply saying is that you all are going to be doing so bad that you're not only going to be violent against each other, you're going to be violent against your wives. You won't have nothing to even give to your children because the enemies that distress you, put your hands up, handcuffs up, you're fired. Yeah, you can still, how you get fired for stealing boxes on your day off, Isaiah? Yeah, call me Asherallah. Craig, that was funny. I was gonna do a song like a skit, like how you get fired for stealing boxes on your day off. Yeah. So, but check this out. So these are the curses that we live under, that we would not have anything to give back, even to our own children, because we would be distressed in the gates of the place that where we live. And this comes down to how the community and the family is also affected. White people know this. They have no compassion once they're done with you. They'll smile at you. They'll give you cakes and goodies and pies, gas cards. You'll even get to wear a nice purple coat and jacket, and you'll think that you're the big man when you're really just their pawn. If there's not a sincerity of the love of God in everything that we do, if there's not a genuine compassion for, I'm doing this not only for me, but for the other people who are around me, I'm doing this for my children, for future generations, then it's gonna, it's going to be a residue left, all right? And it might not be the nicest. When we finish with a project, we want to make sure that all things are done to where the family structure is also edified. Let's get back to this real quick, see what the elders say.
Of how that teacher is handling them, then we may have to assume that whole responsibility. We may have to pull them out of school ourselves, and do all the educating ourselves.
Say, for instance, when they say to my child to draw, last year, Rhonda painted Abraham Lincoln brown, and she was put in the corner, We had to go up to the school and deal with that. They must be respectable to their peers in school. And
in 1968 to now, and you see Abraham Lincoln on a penny, and there's some people that's reported that says Abraham Lincoln had a mixture in his blood, African American parents, one or the other. I don't know nothing about that. There's images that's been shown of Abraham. I don't know. But the psychology that you put a nation through, and we can find that in the Bible also. I don't want to go through every scripture because I said this would be 5 minutes. We're going to get to the subject of marriage real quick. The scripture says, "Who painted their likenesses and their images, painted the likenesses, their images and their gods." In the book of Maccabees. So if iconoclasm can be put on the people to where they now perceive their own culture. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Jesus, Miriam, now perceived everybody white. And the young man, paints Abraham Lincoln as brown, and he's reprimanded for it. That's psychologically damaging. Well, this is how the black man loses his smile, This is systematic. But now let's get back to family. Let's see what the mother says. Salute to you, mama. Love your fro, baby. Look at that edge of that hairline. It's so crispy, baby. That's another man's wife. I'm not doing that, but it's glory, man. Hallelujah.
We handle that. We don't say you jump up, you curse that teacher out, or you say it doesn't exist. But they see us at that school knocking on the door. You have to be in there. Either we're going to control, their minds here, or at least give them the choice.
a lot of this is new to us, and a lot of these things we're grappling with, and we don't want to give anybody the impression that we have the answer to everything.
Not only that, though, let me cut you off again. You know, people go around talking about hate. We really don't have time to hate because, you know.
I'm sorry, interrupt men not in the midst of their speech. That was so cool of him. He was very honorable and respectful. Instead of, you know, saying instead of shutting her down on scene, he let her have the floor. Man, that was beautiful.
Answer to everything.
Not only that, though, let me cut you off again. You know, people go around talking about hate. We really don't have time to hate because, you know, it goose up the bag. We're loving ourselves. Mm-hmm. This might bring around a lot of other different things.
To be black means to love. It's got nothing to do with having hate anybody.
It does determine, though, Francis, and has nothing to do with hate. Again, it's love. That we might have to do certain things to protect that love.
It may bring us into conflict with somebody.
Necessary to protect that love.
Finally, I asked Francis.
Okay, and I see that. You know, that wasn't, in my opinion, that wasn't a bad at all debate between them two. You know, I've read a book, and I want to encourage everybody else to. It's called C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity, and the chapter is on marriage. And within it, he speaks on if you go through an issue, you would much rather deal with the husband, because usually the women they will, like a mama bear or a mother lion. You know, they'll say, listen, because that's what her saying. Hey, don't play with my baby, etc. You know, she was saying we can get to the business. She was bugging her eyes out. She was like, it can go down. That's what she was saying. And while the Abba, you know, the father, he was more reserved. You know, so he was like, you know, I'm just gonna let you have this because you've been drinking.
It's about the standards of today's black man as compared with those of 20 years ago.
Standards which white society had projected. I think these standards were that he had to become successful according to the white mode. He had to get a good job. He had to buy a good car. He had to move to the suburbs. He had to rear a good family that went to church every Sunday, that did everything that the typical good American family was supposed to do. And I don't think the black man necessarily is addicted to that notion. I think he sees the falsity.
No, we're not addicted to the notion. So let me help you all real quick. So your first job came from slavery. All right. They're speaking so articulate. Let me help you out. No. The concept of the so-called black man having to get a good job, live in the suburbs. Listen, we come from a nomadic people. The scripture says in the last days, be ye as pilgrims upon the earth. And I understand some of you would like to have a secure 501, you know, fork, and I love it. And I think everybody should have all these things. We should plan for the future, prep and all that stuff. You know, at the same time, there's another spectrum of it is we don't have to live based off another person's standard. We can be honorable and be peaceful and still be a part of our own family structure, forming our government within the parameters of the God of the Bible, which gave us our own laws. Now, I don't subscribe to everyone's thinking, and I don't expect you to subscribe to mine. I will say this. I do believe it's good to break out of the norm. Once you get established and your family's in a good place, your children are in a good place, live that comfortable lifestyle that the Lord has given you. Live that lifestyle. And at the same time, hold fast to what the Lord has given you pertaining to your own family structure. And I think that's what this man is speaking to. Let me listen to you.
The typical good American family was supposed to do. And I don't think the black man necessarily is addicted to that notion. I think he sees the falsity of it. I think he sees the total hypocrisy of it. I think he wants to rear a tightly knit family, but not for the purposes that white society says. He doesn't want to rear a family for any sham purposes, just to fulfill some false ethic. But he wants to rear a good family in order to have his children strong, reared in his own image perhaps, and to transmit, most importantly, to transmit the values which he is learning to his children, and to try to ensure as best he can that his children will transmit those same values to their children, and, you know, have the same transmission repeated from generation to generation.
That was absolutely beautiful. I would like to not only share
the
that video.
party.
No. Whatever y'all about to say next, the answer is no. All right. I would like to share the link to that video for everybody. Anybody I would like to check it out again. All right. So let me go ahead and bring this screen down. All right. That was beautiful. Now, I can see a few things. One, I think the report was, you know, actually bogus on the title. You know, in the beginning, you had the youth depicting them, you know, and they had their words, you know, like she said, you know, these are young couples or young single people that aren't married, you know, and they're talking about the issues, but I didn't hear anything down there that was in there to where it made me actually say, oh, you know what, our we can't get it resolved, because we can, you know, everything that was spoken of you know, is mentioned to the degree of, you know, we can do something different, you know. I really love Shorty with the fro and the glasses in the beginning. I don't know what the group of elder mothers was speaking about, because they seemed like they were all Eastern stars. Like, you know, nothing against them, but they seemed like they were all speaking in code. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to be a part of what their group was to understand what they was talking about. You know, but let's go a step back. I want to bring everybody over here real quick. Let's go to Deuteronomy, and let's go to chapter 24. Yeah, let's do Deuteronomy chapter 24. Let's look at this principle on marriage real quick. So, can a man put away his wife for any cause? One of the issues that we do have, boom, is that sometimes the principles of the scriptures aren't taught correctly because they're not shown in Hebrew. All right. Now, if a woman wants to be put away from a husband, and if we do have so much conflict, the conflict should be able to be mitigated within the community through communication from the husband and the wife first. It can't be through a wife that continues shame, or a husband that's overly, you know, upset at his rib. There's such a thing as separation, and divorce isn't always the first thing. Now, let me show you this real quick. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 24. All right, very popular verse that's used for marriage. There's a word that's, divorce. There's a word that's in here, and that word stands out so clear to a lot of people, but they don't really see the significance of it. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. It says, when a man has taken a wife, right? So this, just stop right here. It doesn't mean wife in the sense of what you might think of the white dress. I'm going to be your wife, and the ring. All of that is psychological to make you people buy the dress, to make you buy the ring. They put it in the music, they put it in the TVs, they put it in the magazines, they put it all this stuff, commercials. You're saying it's psychological, it's demographics. This word that's here for wife is literally just woman, right? When a man is taking a woman, right, and when he's taking a woman, and and married her. When it says married, this is actually, you went through the process of courting, getting to know, you've laid with her. Now this woman is now yours through the consummation of sex. Now it come to pass that she finds no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanliness in her. This is the word I want to deal with real quick, because I didn't see anybody at all mention divorce or separation in that video. It was relationships and separate, you know, issues, and it's like they got a few words that was in there of just them disagreeing, but you know, there's no talk of separation and divorce, and I really appreciated that. Let me show you this real quick. No favor in his eyes, because he had found some uncleanliness in him. Right here, this word uncleanliness. Now, I don't want to go through the whole thing as we've done so many times, but I do want to show you this real quick. And make sure you talk to your elders, your friend, your community members about this. We have to stop divorcing and putting away our wives for any cause. Women, you have to stop leaving your husbands for any cause. The way that those families had a civil conversational sit down, and the single, they say they were single. Maybe they were single, saying single is like they're not married, but there were obviously some chemistry in that young group. There was some chemistry there. There was some bottles sitting around. They was kicking it. The brother was sweating on his forehead. Maybe, you know, I ain't saying they just didn't have no AC. But, you know what I'm saying, you know, they had some chemistry where they knew each other. But, you know, between that group and the husband and wife group, you know, I heard resolution. And that's what I want to try to also bring. Brothers, you got to be strong, smart, and you also have to be strategic and patient. And it's really a challenge. And women, whenever you try to give a husband a Deuteronomy chapter 24 bill of divorce, it's not very intelligent, because what you're saying is that according to this word right here, Deuteronomy chapter 24, if a man taketh a wife, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanliness in her. The word right here is I-ra-wah, okay? I-ra-wah. All right, we're going to go this way, because Hebrew reads, as you see, from right to left. This first character is I. This second character is the Ra'ash, all right? It looks like kind of like a turned R, right? This third character is the Wa. They'll say Vav, V, but it's a Wa. And the last character is like an H. So the word that's pronounced is Arwah. Now, I just want to get straight to the point. When it says he has found some Arwah in her, uncleanliness in her, this is the word right here. I'm going to take this, copy, paste it, put it right here, and then we're going to go to Google Images. Cover your eyes. The word arwah means her pudundum. All right? The word arwah means her pudundum. Pudunda, pundunda, pundunda, pundunda. Sounds like punani, doesn't it? Punda, pudinda, pudinda. Excuse me, I said pundunda, pudinda. Man, I meant pudinda. All right, so forgive me. I'll be mixing up Latin, Hebrew, Greek. So forgive me. Pudinda. All right. So if you look at the anatomy, when the scripture says you find some uncleanliness in her, this uncleanliness comes from this is literally the diagram of from the rectum to the top of the pelvic bone, right? All right. What is that? Oh, I said a man's pubes. What? Why is it? No, I thought it said a man's pubes. I don't know what it says right there. But the anatomy is what it is. So it's never supposed to be if a man find a bad attitude in a woman, something he don't like. Here's the pudenda. All right, pudenda. So I know that this may look, put my panties on, right? The flower, her flower, right? Her budding, right? Now these are all things that you'll see in Hebrew. Her flower, all right. So I want to bring this forward, and the reason being is because the principles of teaching should be understood correctly. No, it is not if your woman has a bad attitude, if you don't like her, if the two of you are disagreeing, and the two of you have an argument, you can divorce, all right? I want somebody to challenge this, and then after you challenge this, I want you also to tell another person and also ask your friends, is this accurate? Is it true that the vagina is the reason her being separated by uncleanliness, of actually participating in a sexual lewd act, sharing herself, anything of the matter that? That's the principle of divorce in Deuteronomy chapter 24. All right. So I wanted to go over that real quick. I believe that that's it. That's all. I got another conference call coming up. I hope you enjoyed. Share this with somebody else. Show a woman style.